Happy Tuesday. I'm so glad to be back with everyone, whether you see this live or whether you see this in the replay. I took last week off to settle my spirit, to address some issues that I was having. And so I am so glad to be back for this Reiki session tonight. As always, I'm going to begin with a reading. I picked this book up last week. The Wilmington Public Library has had so many different authors come through and talk about their works. And last week I had the pleasure of sitting in the room with none other than Rakim, who has a book out called Sweat the Technique. It is Revelations on Creativity from the Lyrical Genius, and he is certainly that. So to be able to peek into the mind of a creative genius is such a gift. And I love the way in which Rakim has ordered this book based upon what he believes to be the 5 pillars of creativity: purpose, inspiration, spirituality, consciousness, and energy. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. You know a book is good when you start highlighting at the prologue. So right on page 1, I started highlighting. So I'm going to read from the last section on energy. This is the section on divine universal consciousness or frequencies. And since we are going to be talking about emotions tonight, I thought it was a good place to start. And Rakim writes, when you start to explore a greater understanding of divine universal consciousness, you begin to see patterns in both history and science that tap directly into that shared knowledge. These manifest from a mathematical code that can be witnessed in both the works of nature and the works of man. They are categorized and decoded through theories such as the God frequency, the golden ratio, and what Tesla called the key to the universe. But before you begin to decipher these, you need to understand a simple principle. Music is energy, and energy evokes response. When I want to produce a certain response, an emotion like happiness, a thought process such as empathy, or an action like banging your head, I manipulate the energy, or often it manipulates me, through a change in its vibration. That change in vibration is measured in frequency, and understanding the mathematics behind those measurements is the science of how I make music. So if you want to see how a lyrical genius goes about through his creative process, Rakim has placed that in this book. I would consider it just a unique opportunity to see how a creative mind works and what his process is. And so as we are talking about emotions, what Rakim said in that small paragraph is what I want to talk about tonight and what we're going to do in our Reiki session tonight. So many things are going on. Like 2020, have we not been emotionally charged enough? And it seems as though through the end of this year and possibly even the beginning of next year, emotional things are going to continue to rise up in us. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's necessary for many of us who have felt the need to shut down emotionally just to get through this year. I consider this a divine opportunity to reconnect with those emotions, because whether you are aware or not, your emotions are the fuel that pushes you through things. Your response, just like Rakim talked about, your response to things are based upon the emotions that are held in your body. And so many people think they are over things because you may not be thinking about it. But if you're still feeling it and that energy has not changed in your body, or the vibration of that emotion has not been transformed, your response will determine what's going on with you. So if there's something that happened 10 years ago that caused you to be sad, and you think you're over it, and something right now causes you to be sad, your response may still be the same energy from that thing 10 years ago if you have not done the work to transform and raise the vibration of that emotional response. And so as John comes in, we are going to be working on our emotions. John is the Reiki master teacher. I am also a Reiki master, but as I will be speaking about the different areas that we're going to work through, John is going to hold space. And hey, hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I am doing so much better than I have in the past because I'm getting in tune with my emotions. I'm allowing things to
Good.
come. It's almost, well, not almost, when we try to repress things, they just get bottled up. And that energy doesn't go anywhere. We gotta deal with it. We gotta transform it so that our responses are not an overreaction or a numbing. We want to bring it to the middle. We don't want to be numb, because if we numb ourselves one place, we're going to be numb somewhere else. And we don't want to be overacting, because if we overact in one place, we could be overacting in all places. And so, a way for us to ground ourselves emotionally, particularly with so much going on. I know so many of us may have felt a sense of release last week, and now they're telling us we got to go back in the house. And so, um, it's like being let off of punishment, and then it's like, yeah, but I'm going to take the keys to your car. It's like, what? So, if we haven't dealt with the first emotional response to this pandemic, the second one may hit us even deeper, particularly because it is the holiday season. And so many of us were making plans. I'm going to see this person or see that person. And those plans may have to be changed. I know in our area, Pennsylvania has shut down. I think Maryland has shut down. There are a couple of states who are already being proactive in quarantine, going back into quarantine for a second time. So let us try to ground ourselves emotionally, so that we can get through as easy and as gracefully as possible. And so when those different emotions rise up in us, when we respond to things, again, that energy doesn't leave us. It can be transformed, energy doesn't die. And so, for many of us, if we try to numb ourselves to particular emotions, it gets held in our body. It comes up as disease, illness. And there are particular emotions that can get stored in particular organs and areas of the body. And so I'll talk a little bit about that as we go through the different chakras. But as always, we want to start with libations. We need, we must invoke the presence of the ancestors that are always with us. We must say thank you to them. We must show gratitude for their presence, their power, and all that they have given us, so that we have the ability to show up as we are and ground ourselves. And so, as we come into this space, let us take a deep breath. And if you feel so led to think about your ancestors, call them out by name. Hold them in your heart. If you feel that you want to place their names in the chat, please do so. Know that they are with you. Know that they surround you at all times and are waiting for us to acknowledge their presence, so that we can receive all that they bring forth, all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom. And so, for those ancestors who have transcended this physical reality and are now living among the angels, those ancestors, those great mothers, those great fathers, who endured so many different emotions that they may not have been able to express on behalf of them. It is our responsibility, because we have the ability now to freely express ourselves. Let's do so in honor of those ancestors. Let's show joy. Let's show happiness. Let's show anger. All of those emotions that may have been denied those who came before us. It is our duty, our responsibility, and it is our honor and privilege to be able to fully express every single gift of the emotions that we feel. And so we say, Ashe. Hmm. And let us give honor and reverence to all of those within this physical realm, all of those physical angels, you, me, the loved ones that we hold so dear in our heart, even those strangers that sometimes evoke emotions in us that we didn't know we had, we say thank you. Thank you for providing the love, the comfort, the ease, the space, the non judgment, the open arms that say, come into my arms and cry if you need to cry, laugh if you need to laugh. We say thank you to all of those who allow us to be exactly who we are, where we do not have to deny how we feel, where we can tell the truth and know that it is going into a safe space. I say thank you for those of you who allow me that privilege and that pleasure to express myself, to share and be a little bit more vulnerable, to create an energy of intimacy through our emotions. We say thank you. I'm thinking of my brother. I'm thinking of my sisters. I'm thinking of my friends, my loved ones, all of those who allow me to find a safe space where I can be exactly who I need to be. We honor you. We say thank you. And we are so grateful that you are connected to us and that you are in our lives. Ashe. And for that energy that is coming behind us, those beings that have yet to come into physical form, let us honor and reverence their presence by getting ourselves together. Let us cleanse ourselves, balance ourselves, and ground ourselves emotionally so that we can pave the way for the generations to come, so that we can demonstrate to them how we process anger, how we process grief, how we process happiness and joy, and that none of those emotions will ever be denied again, because we have the right to express ourselves as freely and as honestly as we choose. We say, come on in, young ones. We are doing our emotional and mental work so that you will not carry the burdens of all of the emotional charged energy that we leave behind. We say, Ashe. And so I hope that we, as we get in tune with our emotions, recognize that we are doing it for those who couldn't, those who went before us. You know, I can't imagine, being the woman that I am, let's say 60 years prior to this time, where I may not have been able to express my anger. Heck, sometimes now I don't even feel as though my anger is respected or my happiness is respected. I saw a meme the other day that said, every time a woman expresses her joy, here comes somebody to cut that in half. And so on their behalf, those who did not feel as though they could express themselves freely, I have to do my work. For those who are coming behind me, the young people, the generational line that comes behind us, we have to do our work. We owe it to them, but we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to ourselves to increase our emotional intelligence by not hiding and not feeling shame for how we feel. And so for many of us, if we have been denying our emotions, if we have been shut down, shut out, feel the need to get reconnected, sometimes we don't even know what we're feeling. I can tell you over the past 2 weeks, I have just been crying and I can't figure out why. Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't know. The tears just come. But I'm letting them come. And I always feel like if I let it flow through me freely, then the answer that I need will come when it needs to come. And so for many of us who get asked on a daily basis, how you feel? And we say, okay, when we know we're not okay. How are you doing? I'm fine, when we know we're not fine. This is for you. This is for you to find different ways to express yourself. And so if you don't or unable to tie it to a particular emotion, try a color, try a feeling, try a movement. Tell people, if you feel heavy, I feel heavy. If you feel red, then say, I feel red today. I'm having a red day today. Maybe you tie it to a sound. Maybe you feel like a drum. Maybe you feel like a flute. I don't know. Do some different things to elicit different responses to see if you can reconnect yourself. And if you are just damn it sad, then say you're sad. You never know. The person you're speaking to might commiserate with you and be like, you know what, I ain't feeling the best myself. So how can we support one another? I just feel that when we are truthful with the emotions that we are feeling, we can connect to each other on a deeper level. And so as we go through whatever we're going through in these next couple of weeks, it's the holiday season. It's still a global pandemic. We don't know if that joker in the White House is trying to leave willingly or unwillingly. We have no idea what is going to be going on in the next couple of weeks. So now is a time for us to get real about how we're feeling, about what's going on for us, and to support and love one another. We absolutely, even though we may be physically distant, we absolutely can love up on one another. Let us use this social media in a way that maybe we haven't used it before, by reaching out to one another and saying, you know what, I'm not okay today. And let's normalize people saying, I'm not okay today and I need some support. Do you have a kind word? Do you have a smile? Can you share a joke? Or maybe we want to share in some joy. Many of us have not felt like we could express joy because so many other people are going through so much sadness. Your joy should not be denied just because someone else may not be in that energy. So find your people. Find your people who are going to be able to support you emotionally. And if you feel that someone is causing some emotional damage to your spirit, then it is time to let those jokers go. We cannot afford to have people damage us emotionally. We just can't do it. That type of abuse doesn't often get talked about, that emotional abuse, and it doesn't have to be someone shouting, yelling. It could be someone withholding from you, someone that you used to be friends with, and then all of a sudden just shut down, and you didn't have a conversation. You don't know what happened. So many people are not having conversations with one another to say what they're feeling. And that causes some emotional damage when we feel like we don't know what happened. And then we start to blame ourselves. So as we come into this Reiki session, find yourself a comfortable position. I should have put a disclaimer out. I have my tissues with me. I can already feel emotions coming up, and I'm just going to let whatever comes up, comes up. It may not be sadness. It just may be something that I need to release. And if the same is for you, as I always say, do you have your water? So if you're going to put out some water, you got to put some water back in. So hopefully you have your water. Let's come into this moment where this is a safe space. This is a sacred place because we are together and we're sharing. Regardless of whether I can hear you or not, I feel you. And I know that John, as the Reiki master, is connecting to each and every person that is watching right now, because that's how the universal life force energy that we call Reiki works. It transcends time. It transcends space. It transcends everything because energy does not die. So let us take a deep breath, come into this moment where nothing else matters. What happened an hour before, what will happen an hour from now. Release that from yourself right now and just worry about, not even worry, just focus on the here and now. Just focus on what you can control, your emotional self. Just think about everything that we have gone through this year, and we are still here. And because we are still here, still growing, still learning, there is nothing that we cannot do when we call upon the source of all life, however you may call it, the divine, God, the universe, that source that is going to power you through anything that you need to get through. That source that you can draw on when you feel like you can't go any further. Let's invoke that source right now. Let's invoke that energy, invoke that power into this space in this moment. Knowing that that presence is expressing through each and every single one of us in this moment. Knowing that that presence is always available to us. Knowing that every time we ask, the universe responds. We say thank you. With a full energy of gratitude, we say thank you to the source of all life, the source of love, the source of peace, coming into this moment, clearing, balancing, and grounding each and every single one of us as we make requests to balance ourselves emotionally, to connect with one another in such a way that we support and love one another through whatever we are going through. We thank you. We let it be, and so it is. And so we're going to do a quick scan of our body, starting from our toes, our beautiful, blessed toes that are connected to Mother Earth, no matter where we are. And as we check in with our body, we want to ask the question, where do you need more love? What am I feeling in my body? And as we go through the different energy centers that are along the spine, knowing that there are so many different energy centers on our body, surrounding our body, we are going to deal with the first 7, from the base of our spine to the top of our heads. I will be calling them out as we move through. John is holding space for each and every single one of us, so we don't even have to worry about that. Let's let that emotion ease from us in this moment. Am I doing it right? Don't worry about it. Am I getting the energy I need? Don't worry about it. Energy knows exactly where to go. It cannot be denied. Cannot be denied. And so as we take a deep breath, and we're still scanning our bodies up from our toes to our legs, let's go up to our knees. Just a quick scan through our hips, our abdomen, our heart. Very quick scan through our chest, our shoulders, out to our arms, to our fingertips. Back up through to our elbows, our shoulders again, our throat, our lovely, unique face to the top of our crown. Just check in with your body in this moment as you continue to take some deep breaths. If there is an area of concern that is calling out to you in this moment, perhaps that is where you place your focus. We'll talk about the emotions that may be stored there. Don't forget about your back. The front of our bodies is where we are aware in consciousness. The back of our bodies is where we hold that subconscious energy. Let's become present to all of the energy that's in our body right now. Let's get real. Let's tell the truth about how we're feeling, how you feel right now in this moment. What collective energy has settled in your body? And if you feel so led, by rubbing your hands together and then placing them at the first energy center, which is located at the base of your spine. If you feel as though you want to place one hand behind you, one hand in front of you, you know what to do. You are life itself. Let the energy lead you and guide you to where it desires to go. And as we talk about the emotions found in the root chakra, your root chakra is at the base of your spine, but it also includes your skin, your covering, your skin being the largest organ in our bodies. The skin that does so much work. If you are having any challenges with your skin, that could be some nervous energy that's caught in your body. So ask yourself, what has me nervous? What has me concerned in this moment? Where am I not allowing things to flow freely so that there may be a blockage in my skin? Just imagine that beautiful red light that is the indicator of the root chakra. Imagine your skin right now is being kissed by that beautiful red light, that energy of safety and security, that when it is dismissed, when we don't feel safe, we start to worry. We start to be concerned. And that can show up in our skin, that can show up in our glands, that can show up in different areas of our body. It could be our nails, it could be our hair. You're having issues with hair loss, or your hair just feels different. All of that connected to the root chakra energy. So let's call forth a different emotion. Or let's transform that emotion of worry. But first, you got to tell the truth. What are you worried about? What are you concerned about? So many of us, if we go back into quarantine, our jobs may be affected, education may be affected, businesses, again, being affected. There is so much to be concerned and to worry about. Get truthful about it. Are you scared? The root chakra is where you ask yourself, are you scared? Are you afraid? We cannot heal what we are not willing to face. So anywhere in your body, anywhere in your life where you emotionally are feeling worried, fearful, scared about your money, about your health, about your environment, where you're living, certainly 2020 has tested that emotion of worry and fear. Is there more for us to fear? Or are we ready to transform that energy into a higher vibration so that our responses, the choices that we make, do not show up as fear, but show up as courage? That feeling of safety that we find and create within us, that we connect to the divine, that we connect to the source of life. Let's take a deep breath and tell ourselves through affirmations that I am safe, I am protected. I have come this far. Think about what we have gone through in this year. We are in the 11th month of a most challenging year, and we are still here. Yes, there are challenges that are coming ahead of us, but if we have gone through and made it through, we can continue to do so. We might have to dig a little deeper, get a little more rooted and a little more grounded, but we can call forth the universal life force energy to cleanse that feeling of worry and fear in your root chakra, to relax it, to release it. Tell yourself you're going to be all right. We are going to be all right because we are going to support and love on one another. We are going to draw our strength from our internal self, so that we can connect with the vibration that is willing to connect with us. We can vibrate on that same level. I can be very honest and truthful in this moment that the past couple of weeks, I have been very afraid of being able to maintain my standard of living based upon what may have happened in the election, what might happen with COVID, so many different things to process. But I also know that there is a source that has kept me and protected me through this entire year, through my entire life. And I can draw on that source. I can allow that light to flow freely. And that is what is calling forth to dismiss the feeling of fear and worry. We got to let it flow. So if there are some issues in your circulatory system, in your skin, where are you not allowing the flow to happen? How are you creating a safe space for yourself? Who is surrounding you? Do they feel safe? Call forth and ask the universe to provide what you need in this moment to feel safe. Get very real and very clear about what safety looks like for you. And know that you can call upon the source of all life to provide. Be prepared for the answer. And as we continue to hold in that energy of safety, that emotional space within us, let us move up to the second chakra, right below our navel, right below our belly button, our sacral chakra. Sacral chakra can also hold fear. The energy and emotion of fear has so many different branches to it. The sacral chakra is the seat of our emotions, so anything that we feel can get stored here. Two of the most common Emotions that can get stored in our sacral chakra, that is burning orange, are shame and guilt. Perhaps it is because the sacral chakra is right above the reproductive organs, and so many of us, for a variety of reasons, have a connection of shame or guilt, or we're not even really clear about our sensual selves, our sexual selves. If you have ever had trauma in that area, then certainly there may be some shame and guilt. And if there is, that feeling, those feelings are so strong, and it takes a whole lot of work to work through shame and guilt. Shame, in my opinion, is something that is placed upon you. Guilt is something you create within yourself. You can feel guilty about things that you said or did or didn't do or didn't say. Shame is more about things that may have been done to you that you could be embarrassed about, or things that you engaged in that you may be embarrassed about. It can be held in your sacral chakra. So call upon the universal life force energy that clears and grounds and balances all things to come into that orange energy center right below your navel. Call forth and ask the question, how am I really feeling about myself? However you identify, whatever energy you identify with, whether it is female, masculine, we both have both energies within our being. How are you feeling? Is there some shame attached to your feminine side? Is there some shame attached to your masculine energy? Is there some guilt? It could have happened so long ago that maybe you don't even think about it anymore. But if it's there and it has not been transformed, or it has not been elevated in its vibration, it can show up right now by playing small, by blocking your creativity, by not allowing you to express yourself freely, by not allowing you to be emotionally connected. This is the area where, if you feel like a lot of your responses to things are an overreaction or no reaction at all. Have you ever heard or seen someone say, I'm angry, but you can't tell based upon their face or based upon the way in which they're speaking? Could that be the way you respond to things, where you just don't even seem to care anymore? The sacral chakra holds that energy. So let's call for some healing in that area. We might want to stay here just for a little bit so we can get really real. And as I said earlier, if you cannot place a particular emotion to what you're feeling, does it look like a color? Does it feel like a particular movement or a temperature? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it warm? What are you feeling in that spot right now? Does it have a sound? If someone were to ask you how you feel most of the time in your spirit, could you describe it? Could you describe it using a color, a sound, a smell, even a taste? Using other senses can also help you get connected to how you're feeling, connected to your emotions. I know, as I said earlier, I've been crying like a baby for the past couple of days, just out of nowhere. And sometimes it's attached to a memory. Sometimes it's attached to something I've seen, something I've heard. Sometimes it's not even my stuff. Sometimes we're crying for other people because we can't even cry for ourselves. Have you not allowed yourself to cry for yourself? I know that I am certainly guilty of that I have not given myself permission to cry for myself. So as we are calling forth a universal source of energy to come into our sacral chakras in this moment, to give us the freedom to feel what we're feeling, to get really truthful about what may be going on in our life in this moment so that we can heal it. You cannot heal what you are unwilling to face. And if you do not feel that you have a safe space, let this be the safe moment for right now. Or maybe it'll come later. Just know that when you ask for anything, the universe will respond as long as you are willing and open to receiving. So as we continue to deal with the emotions that are stored in our sacral chakra, know that emotions can be stored in all parts of your body. So let's move right above our navel to our solar plexus, that's burning yellow, that third chakra, which is the seat of our mental energy. But let me tell you something, our mental energy really doesn't have any force without that emotional energy attached to it. So let's think about that in this moment. Let's think about how our thoughts are controlled by how we feel. We may think we want to do something, but if we don't feel it, or if we feel a certain type of way about it, it may not manifest the way in which we intend. And so as we are at our solar plexus right now, let us think about the emotion of anger. Because the mental energy is held in our solar plexus, the emotion of anger can get stored right up in that solar plexus. And sometimes anger that is not processed looks like projecting onto others. It looks like withdrawing, isolating, when you are not processing your anger appropriately. And I guarantee you that each and every single one of us has the right to be angry about something. Are you allowing yourself to process that appropriately? Are you swallowing that anger? Because it will show up in your solar plexus area, meaning your digestive system. A lot of our issues, digestive issues, are unresolved anger that is being stored in our body. Give yourself permission to be angry. And do it in a way where you're not harming someone else or harming yourself. And as John is providing the energy and holding space for us, let us get really, really truthful about some stuff that we are angry about. Certainly this year did not turn out the way that many of us had designed it. I can remember all of us in 2019 like, ooh, we can't wait for 2020 to come. And we had no idea it was going to come the way in which it came. And so if there's some anger around that, and now they're telling us we have to go back into quarantine, it's okay to be angry about it. Doesn't mean that we can't be appropriate and do what we need to do, but it is absolutely okay to be angry. How are you going to process that and use that and raise the vibrational level of that anger so that it can push you forward? Because let me tell you something. When you process anger appropriately, it can be exactly the energy you need to push you forward. When we experience something that is uncomfortable and we don't ever want to experience that again, it will change our choices. And so that's what we're talking about tonight in terms of grounding ourselves emotionally. And I certainly have had to need to do a lot of that work as of late. So if it is the same for you, just know that it is a process. Release yourself from your progress. How quickly am I doing it? How fast is it happening? And pay attention to the process. Exercise some patience with yourselves, particularly when it comes to the solar plexus energy, because we're unlearning a lot of things. And again, if you can't really determine what you're angry about, journaling will also be very helpful. There you can say whatever the heck you want to say. Maybe it's not a conversation that you need to have with someone. Maybe it's a conversation you need to have with yourself first, so you can take the heat off of it before you process and engage in conversations with others. But please, please, please process your anger, because that anger will turn into something ugly in your body if you don't raise the vibration of that energy. And so as we are calling forth the universal life force energy to come into our solar plexus in this moment, think about those things where anger has taken hold. Transform it into something greater. Transform it into something that will push you forward. And as we rise up to the fourth chakra, right at our heart center, this energy center that burns green, all things flow to and from the heart. And the heart holds so many different emotions. But I tell you what, any stress that you are under, it's going to come to your heart. You're going to hold that energy in your heart if you're not processing your stress, if you're not addressing the stress, if you are not using love and coming from a place of love for yourself and for others. We don't want to damage that heart. We can't afford to have any more damage to our heart. And so if there is something you are holding in your heart against yourself or against someone else, where you are not allowing forgiveness, where you are not allowing compassion, if there is a bunch of judgment in your heart, you got to let that thing go. The heart flows. The heart is musical. It has a beat to it. And anything that is disrupting that beat is causing damage. So allow love to flow freely. It may take some time because so many of us have had to shut ourselves down. And as I always say, if you shut yourself down in one area, you will shut yourself down in all areas. So allow love to flow into your heart center right now. Are you letting people love you? Are you showing up with an energy of vulnerability, which is also very loving because it gives other people permission to release judgment from their heart? When you show up exactly as you are, who you are, it gives other people freedom to do the same. It may take them a little bit more time, but keep showing up as a heart-centered, loving individual. Don't let this world cause hardness to come into your heart. Take a deep breath into your heart in this moment. And so there is a connection between the heart and the throat, and that is where grief can be stored. Grief can be stored in your heart and in your throat chakra. And we're going to get to the throat chakra in a moment. But please, if there is some sadness, if there is some grief that remains, get real with it. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to process those things we have lost in this year and whatever grief may be coming or bubbling up from the surface because of us returning to quarantine. So many of us had anticipated the end of this year looking vastly different, and it looks as though it's going to look like the beginning of this year, all the way back to March. We're going to need to take some deep breaths around that. So our lungs are going to need to have a full capacity to deal with what we are dealing with right now. So many of us feel like we have been holding our breath, waiting for things to change. Breathe deeply and release that sadness from your lungs. And as we move up to the fifth chakra, the throat chakra, we want to release that sadness from our throat. Because sadness can be held in the throat when we are not expressing ourselves completely. If someone is asking you how you feeling and you keep betraying yourself by saying, I'm okay, that's sadness that is not being allowed to be released. Don't hold that in your throat chakra, because that is also the energy center of creativity. And so what we speak, we create. So if we are not speaking the truth, then we are creating illusions in our life. And if you feel as though, as many of us do, you don't want to burden someone with what you're feeling, that's how we are connected to one another. What you feel, I feel on some level. What someone else is going through, you're going through on some level. And so as we begin to speak the truth about what we're going through, then we have a greater opportunity to heal ourselves, to support one another, to be there with one another. You never know how one kind word can change the course of your life or someone else's life. So let us speak truth in all things. And as we move up from our throat chakra, I know we're going through these chakras a little bit easier, or a little bit quicker, I should say. If there is a cry that is caught in your throat, let it out, however you deem appropriate for you. If there is a scream that is caught in your throat, if there is some anger, it can be caught in different areas of the body. And if you are not expressing yourself fully, those emotions can get caught there and cause all kind of stress and illness in your body. Do it for your body's health. Do it for your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. Cleanse and clear yourselves. Let's move up to the sixth chakra, which is right between our eyebrows, the brow chakra, the third eye. For those of us who have migraines, for those of us who have headaches, for those of us who have sinus issues, it can be stored right here in this sixth chakra, the third eye, that is corresponding color to the third eye is indigo. It's a cross between blue and violet. That indigo energy chakra, that is the place of our vision, our intuition, our spiritual sense of knowing. You feel as though you're blocked, your vision is blocked. Things are not manifesting in your life. You can't seem to get through. These headaches keep popping up. The sinus pressure seems to be so much in this area. You could possibly be holding a lot of stress, confusion, worry also shows up, which is why so many of us get furrowed brows, because we're concerned and we're worried, we're confused. All of those things can show up. Hallucinations. You think you're seeing things, you think things are appearing that may not be real. All of those things show up when we are out of balance, when we are not in touch with our emotional selves. So if there is emotion that is causing you some confusion because you're uncertain, many of us may be feeling uncertain in this moment. What are the holidays going to look like? Do I have to go back to work at home? Are the kids going to be coming back to virtual learning? This is a confusing time right now. And so let's get real with it. Let's get honest that we may be confused right now. And it's going to call for us, because this is a spiritual chakra, it's going to call for us to tap into our spiritual sense, that imagination, that thing that does not manifest in the physical reality of what we see, but stays right here in our imagination, our dreams. We want to alleviate any pressure in this area by allowing us to see things and changing our perception of what it is that we are seeing. While it may look difficult right now, allow your spiritual self to dream a little bit bigger, to look beyond the physical reality of what things are and look at the spiritual sense. And as we continue to take deep breaths through all of our chakras, let us come up to the seventh, right above our head, our crown. Again, if we are experiencing confusion, headaches, if we are feeling tired, many of us are experiencing some physical fatigue because we are emotionally fatigued. Get real about the source of your power. Get real about your spiritual practice. If you don't have one, you best get one. Yours does not have to look like mine, and mine does not have to look like yours, but I would encourage everyone, if you do not have a practice of meditation, now is a great time to enter into that. That will help wonders for your crown chakra. To just sit in silence and release the pressure in your brain will allow all of these other chakras to release. Find some way of including meditation in your daily life. Sit in silence. Take deep breaths. Call forth that energy that comes from the crown chakra, that comes from above. The crown chakra burns violet, but as it gets higher and higher in the consciousness, in the heavens, however you want to call it, it becomes lighter and lighter. That light is lighter and lighter, and allow that light to envelop you in this moment so that you are very clear about your emotional intelligence. How am I really feeling? Allow yourself the pleasure, the privilege to let go and to feel everything. We came here to feel everything. Our emotions are a gift from above. It reminds us that we're living. We don't want to be so shut down that we don't respond or react to anything. And we don't want to be so overly emotional that we're responding and reacting to everything. We want to create a sense of balance. And the crown chakra can help us do that by reconnecting us to our spiritual selves, reconnecting us to our true nature as spiritual beings. Take a deep breath and allow that energy to flow into your crown chakra in this moment, releasing the pressure in your brain. For all of you overthinkers, release the pressure in your brain, drop out of your head and down into your chest, down into your sacral chakra, and feel. Start to feel everything. Give yourself permission to feel sadness, to feel anger, to feel happiness, to feel shocked. Whatever it is, tell yourself the truth of how you feel. Tell others the truth of how you feel. Think about how many people could be saved from suffering if they got really real about how they're feeling. And if someone is coming to you with those emotions, with those feelings, no judgment. Just receive. Maybe you don't need to say anything at all. Maybe they need your silence, to sit with their silence. Let us continue to connect with the energy on high, connect with one another as we think about the seventh chakra, the crown, the sixth chakra, the brow, the fifth chakra, the throat, the fourth chakra, the loving heart, the third chakra, the solar plexus, the second chakra, the sacral chakra, and the first chakra, the root. All seven along our spinal cord, along our central nervous system, our operating system, all of our emotions connected to our central nervous system. And if you are feeling greatly imbalanced, then I would also offer that you seek professional help. If there are emotions such as anger, grief, worry that seem to be beyond what you can do for yourself, then connect with a professional that can support you in those areas. Be really mindful of what your body is doing and where you are holding awarenesses or pain in your body, because that could be a very clear indication of an emotion that has been stuck and that needs to be released. Continue to breathe deeply. Continue to connect with what you're feeling. Write about it. Even if all you can write is, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. And if you can't attach it to a particular experience in your life, that's okay. But get really real about what you're feeling. And if you do not feel balanced or grounded, take a minute, as I said earlier, get into some meditation, take some deep breaths, do your best to calm yourself. Something that I have been doing as of late is if someone is asking me a question, I take a breath before I answer so that I am clear in thought and emotion. so that I'm responding based upon what is before me instead of responding based upon some emotional attachment that happened in my past. Mm. Let us balance ourselves as much as possible. Let us connect with one another as much as possible. I know I had to take last week off because I was having some emotional instability. I feel so much better now. Give yourself permission to step away if you've got to step away, but do whatever you need to do so that whatever emotional charge is in your body, that you feel capable of processing it appropriately, so that you are responding at the vibrational level that is for your highest good. And as always, as we come to the end of this session, we are going to end with sound. And as the brother Rakim in his book so eloquently said, that music is energy and energy is music. And music and sound has a great way of raising the vibrational level of any emotion. I know so many of us can think of a song that can change the way they feel. And so as we are ending this session, the energy does not end. The energy is continuous because energy cannot die. Let us all take a deep breath. Ooh, I'm so proud of myself, John. I got through it without crying like a baby, even though I felt like it. And that's how you balance your emotions. Um, I mean, I allowed to come up what needed to come up, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I trust that each and every single one of us, as we are reconnecting, perhaps to emotions that we haven't allowed ourselves to feel this whole year because we've been in this protective state of being where we've had to kind of shut some things down, that we will allow ourselves the gift, because I'm telling you, when you get your emotions in check, then the things that are going on external to you don't have the effect that they used to have. And so you're not overreacting, or you're not so numb. Oh, blessings to you, sweetheart. Or that you're not so numb that you can't respond at all and you're stuck in this state of fear. That energy stays in your body. You want to raise that vibrational level to where you are feeling like you can handle whatever is thrown at you, because some stuff is going to be thrown at us. We've already had a lot of stuff thrown at us. So the one thing we can control is our emotional self, our mental self, our physical self, our spiritual self. So let's do the work to balance ourselves emotionally. We are headed for some challenging days. We have no idea. If 2020 has not taught us anything, is release yourself from the attachment of what will be and relax into all that is, and trust that the divine has your highest good always at the forefront. And so even as we are processing these emotions that feel like a lower vibration, use that energy. I say use everything that God has given you to take you to where you want to be. So if you're angry, if you're upset, use that energy however it's going to bring you through. And I just trust that we will continue to love upon one another as always. I am available. John is available. You can inbox us. We're here every Tuesday. Oh, we may not be on Instagram Live next Tuesday. And I'll have to talk to you about that, John. We might be in a different space and in a different place. You'll still be able to find us, but it may be in a different platform. I will let everyone know. I just want to expand what we are offering. And in order to do that, we may have to shift and move to some other places and spaces. I want to say thank you to those of you who reached out to me last week when I was like, yeah, I don't have it. Thank you for allowing me to have the space to take care of myself so that John and I can come and support you all. And if there's anything that either one of us can do to support and to help you, um, even if it's just a phone call or a text, just please inbox us and let us know. Um, I say thank you. Thank you so much, John, for holding space for us as you always do. It is such, such an honor to do this work with you. And I don't know that I would have been here this week if it hadn't been for you providing and creating space for me last week. So thank you. All right, everyone have a great evening.